What does that mean to a scholar? What does that mean to a parent? Because they mean different things. So we all know, growing up, this day and age, the internet can be a scary place. Right? And I understand that. I got a 9-year-old, I got a 3-year-old. And so we want to tell you, we've got some cautions in place. And we're going to go over those with you parents, scholars. You all will get that in your centrums here in a little bit. Okay? But there is some people that I have to thank before we get started, and a couple other announcements. I got to thank our tech team folks. Oh, would you stand and raise and shake their hand? I tell you, when we started this project, I guess shortly after I came in July, and I said, guys, this is what I want to do. And there was a lot of big eyes, and they were instrumental in making this happen. So thank you. Dr. Dave Heingartner is back here in the back. He is the director of secondary. We appreciate him being here. I also have to thank our technology committee here at school, led by Alyssa Moore and Melanie Woods. Alyssa, raise your hand. Right, Alyssa has been great with this project. I know I have her crazy going back and forth, but she has been absolutely instrumental in making this happen. So thank you, Alyssa. I also thank our partners over here at Chantel. Thank you, Amanda. Amanda's going to speak to us in a little bit, but they donated all the neoprene cases, the protective cases that the kids are going to get. So that's one of the protective things. We could not be here without them. A couple of housekeeping things, as you can see, where our exits are in case we have an emergency. We have exits there, and then obviously where we came out. The bathrooms are open on both sides. There's also bathrooms in the middle. So if you need to use restrooms, please help yourself. With that being said, we'll go ahead and get started with our event, but that does mean 7th grade. Y'all paying attention over there? Yeah, 7th grade. If you would, please go to your centrum. Now, obviously, this is all about the kids, not the kids that don't hear each other, right? We kind of talk a little bit about business. As we go through tonight, you're going to go through a series of speakers. We're going to kick things off. I'm going to let Jim Diller from the PTO talk here for a couple minutes. And then Amanda is going to come up and do a presentation from Chantel. Deputy Frazier from the Sheriff's Office is going to do a presentation as well. And then I'm going to conclude with a short presentation. All in all, we'll be here. We've got this thing timed out to about 45 minutes. And then, we will excuse you guys to go pick up your kids in the centrum. But if you have questions of individuals, whether it's me, part of my team, from the school side, from an internet service side, a legal side, whatever it may be, I've told my wife, I hope to be home before tonight. Right? So I will stay here and answer questions as long as y'all have them, because we want you guys to feel good about this initiative too. Okay, so as I said, and if you guys were here at open house, I told you guys that as a principal of this building, and I take that very, very seriously, and that I would treat your kids no different than I would my own. Okay, and so trust me, I understand. I've got the nervous excitement too, right? I'm getting ready to give Chromebooks to 11, 12, and 13-year-olds, and I am convinced that it is good for instruction. I'm absolutely convinced. But it's also a little scary. And I get that, okay? And so hopefully through this presentation tonight, we will go ahead and put that at ease, right? We know there's going to be questions. We know there's going to be some hiccups along the way. We'll get answers. We'll figure it out. Nobody's ever done this before. So somebody had to go first. So I said, yeah, pick me. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Jen Miller. She's got a couple announcements about some PTO events, some shirts, and some other things. I'll hand that over to her.
Hey, I'm not using the microphone. I scream loud at home. My name is Jennifer Miller. I was the PTO president for the past 2 years. Right now, we don't have a PTO president. If you saw the letters and things we had to get in the year, we're looking for people to join and kind of take over leadership. What we have typically done is support the teachers with things, just tell them they're doing a good job, we're doing luncheons and things like that. We're selling the t-shirts over there. The PTO kind of here tries to build a spirit spirit of community in the school with the shirts and things like that. These are the same shirts we sold 2 years ago. We're sticking with that shirt so that as new kids come in, they all kind of get that same thing. They feel like they have the same shirts as the older kids and that kind of thing. We did pay for the Brain Pop program. That's one thing that the PTO money goes for. But what I have found is that the middle school, a lot of the groups raise their own money. So there's not a real need for a lot of money to be raised. It's more coming up with ideas and things to build that community and that kind of thing. So the other thing I found is that it's hard to get information to parents because kids are getting bigger and they don't bring papers home or they think they've got it all under control, and that's been our big issue with PTO. So I'm at the table with the shirts. If you want to buy them, we're turning the order in tomorrow. Short sleeve, long sleeve, and hoodies. And if you want to come over and talk to me, you can give me your name, email, phone number. If you're willing to help, if you're interested, if you want to step up, I can tell you what we've done in the past. You can just repeat that. Or if you have a lot of new ideas, we're welcome to that. Anything you want to do, we just want to kind of build a community among the parents like they do among the kids. Okay? All right. Thanks.
All right, so and one other announcement on the is, like, as she mentioned, we have some different parent groups that are doing different things. On Saturday, December 5th, we are going to do a holiday basket bingo. So we'll be sending information home about that if that's something you're interested in or want to help out, and we'll be seeing some information about that. So with that being said, we'll kind of get to the other meat of the reason why we're here. Amanda, if you want to come on out. Amanda is from Chantel, and I reached out to her, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks ago, and I said, hey, we got this really cool project going on. This is what we're doing. This is what we can help with, and we really could use some help. And she jumped right on board. So, needless to say, without her help, we wouldn't be here today. We're really thankful of Chantel and what they're able to offer us. And so she's going to kick us off here a little bit.
Thank you. I'm not used to speaking in a microphone like this, so if I'm screaming, I apologize. My name is Amanda Dellinger. I'm the marketing coordinator with Chantel. I'm the coordinator for Shenandoah County, and I actually was part of one of the first classes here at Northfork. So whenever these projects come up, they always come across my desk, and I get super excited because I was here where your kids were, and I know a lot of you in this room. We all went to school together, so super excited about this. So a couple things that we, in talking to Mr. Lynn, we're excited about is that this is really going to open up a whole other world to your students. That when I was in school, if we had a project about whales, we literally just picked up an encyclopedia and, our teacher might have shown a video in class, but now with these Chromebooks, your kids can go online, they can look up stuff in zoos, they can watch videos. It's a completely different experience that they're having than what we did. So in that, we have to remember that they are little people, and this is going to be brought up a lot tonight, is about being a good digital citizen. So we are going to need as parents to constantly remind them about being a good digital citizen. And this runs the gamut from being nice online to others, to not downloading random apps and documents from unknown locations. With your child, we have found that it's very important to talk about responsible and respectful citizenship in more general terms. So we try to break it down when we talk to parents. We tell them to break it down in a more face-to-face thing. So if your student, one of their friends says, hey, do you like my top? And it's an ugly top. Your child is going to be like, oh, it's cute. But online, a lot of times, kids kind of veer towards getting a little nasty. And so that is something that we really are big proponents of, talking to the kids all the time about being a good digital citizen. So an acronym that we have found when we work with the police and sheriff's department with is the SMART acronym. And so we'll just go over this briefly. So the first S is for safe. And you need to talk to your kids about not giving out personal information, like what school they go to, who their teacher is, what bus number they ride, their home address, and their phone number. It's very easy in conversation online for people to ask those questions. And your kids, if it slipped in sure that you're very aware of. The M is for meet, and we find this to be very common sense, but don't meet people you meet online without your parents' approval. So make sure that you're always talking to them about that. Don't meet anyone that you met in the gaming forum. Don't meet anyone that you met online. A is for accepting. Don't accept friend requests, emails, texts, or pictures from someone you don't know. R is for reliable. People can be anyone online. And so you need to talk to your kids about, they don't really know who they're talking to. We've all heard of and seen the show Catfish. So your child might think that they're talking to a kid from another middle school, when in fact they're talking to a 65-year-old man in Florida. It happens more frequently than we all want to really think about. So make sure they're being very cautious with that. And the T is for tell. We need to discuss with them to tell a parent or trusted adult if they're being bullied online or if someone is making them feel uncomfortable. And again, this happens, we see this happening quite a bit. We have some bracelets over at our table. What's left? Your kids are like very excited about free stuff. All kids are. And sorry about these whistles, by the way. Please do not call me tomorrow and yell. I'm really sorry. But we have, I've already got the chat. But we do have bracelets over at our table with a little flyer on it. So if you want to pick one of those up, it's just something good to kind of remind your kids about as they are experiencing and checking out their new Chromebooks. Let's see. Next, we are going to. Oh, one thing I would like to read. We have a little brochure over at our table for parents, and this was published by the FCC, I believe. And there was a really great little article in here that I just wanted to read to you. It was an Ask the Expert question. And it says, "Dear expert, I might be in trouble. I was playing on my dad's computer and downloaded some stuff. It was free or I wouldn't have. Now he says that his computer is really slow and it goes places he doesn't want to. Am I in trouble?" I'm sure most of you have had this experience. If you have a computer at home, this is pretty much every kid. They're like, "Oh, it's free," or "Oh, I can win an iPhone. Let me click that." And so the expert says, "Are you in trouble?" That's up to your parents. Is the computer in trouble? Yes, probably so. People claim to offer free stuff online like video games or ringtones, but when you download it, they secretly put harmful programs on your computer, and that is called spyware. Spyware can search your computer looking for your credit card numbers or bank account information, or it may copy everything you type in, even personal stuff, and send it back to and from. And who wants that? So when you're thinking about downloading something on your computer, talk it over with your parents first. So these are it has little tips like this and things that you might not think of, because as we saw with the whistles, kids love free stuff. So if something pops up, they're probably going to click it. So we need to really make sure that we're mindful of talking to the kids about that. So let's see. I think I'm too far. Okay, so the next thing I just want to touch on basically is, I know a lot of you probably are aware that Chromebooks use the internet. They don't have any hard storage. So it is a laptop of a different breed. These machines are used primarily while connected to the internet, with most applications and documents living on the cloud. How many people know what the cloud is? Oh, yay, yay. Even at Chantel, a lot of people are like, I don't know, I think it's something mystical. So a cloud is basically just online storage. And it doesn't affect your physical computer, and you need to be online to use it. So Chromebooks, since they use file sharing and uploading, you need a good internet speed to really be able to fully use this device. And when you have a lot of devices online in your home, it will slow your speed down. So a couple things that we just want to remind you of when you are, now that you have a new device in your house, is what speed you have. You need to think about if your kids play games. Video games eat up a lot of data. Do you stream movies and TV shows? And the most important is how many people are going to be online at once. So if you have 4 children and they are all online at the same time, that's really going to affect the speed that you're going to need. So we have our different packages up on the screen. I have a customer service rep with me that is happy to answer any questions, or you guys can call us. But that is the most important thing we tell people, is that you need to think about how many people in your home are using the computer at the same time. And then if the internet, if it's out of your price range, or excuse me, let me back up. So if Chantel is not available in your area, because I know some of you live in more remote areas that we don't have service. So we do just want to remind you that Sprint does have 2 different forms of internet available to you. So you can get a hotspot for your home, or you can get a USB plug-in. And these are devices that simply plug into your laptop and you get the internet from Sprint. And they have devices that can deliver the internet to your whole home as well. And so you just go online to sprint.com, or you can go to the Wisdom Sprint store. And then one other thing we just want to touch on briefly is if your child is on a free or reduced lunch program, we just want to remind you again that you are eligible for a discounted rate of the internet. The internet is offered at $20 off of the monthly price, no matter what speed you get. And so to qualify for this, your child must be enrolled in the program for free and reduced lunch. And you just need to bring a copy of the parent notification of eligibility dated 2015, 2016. And you should have gotten that at the beginning of the school year. If you have already lost it or tossed it, stop over by our table. We have a little card with some information on how to contact the person to do that. And you just simply bring that letter in, and we will get you a discounted internet price. And like I said, if you guys have any other questions, please stop by, and good luck with your students. Thank you.
Just as a token of all the work that Amanda does, we're going to give her one of the bags that she gave us. But it also has some Northport gear on the inside, and we just really appreciate what Chantel has done for us, and Amanda has been a great person to work with, so thank you. So Paige Frazier, she's our school resource officer here in Northport. She is absolutely phenomenal with the kids, and when we told her about this, she was like, can I talk to you? We said absolutely. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the scary stuff that can happen, with the internet, and sometimes that's what police officers do. So Paige, thank you for being here. It's all yours.
Thank you. Like you said, Deputy Frazier. I'm here at Northport. Love these kids. You all have very good kids. If I've not met you before, it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing. Okay? Sometimes we just speak on the phone. Sometimes I talk to you for good matters too. Okay? But now we have faces and names rather than just phone calls. So what I'm going to touch on, and I don't have the PowerPoint in front of me, so I'm going to be reading it like you all do. What we're going to go over are the laws. Okay, so I just want to touch base on a couple of laws that will associate with computers. Okay, we hope that I never have to make a phone call and say, okay, remember that law I talked about that night? This is what we're dealing with. Okay? The first one is harassment by computer. I'm not going to read it verbatim. You guys can look over it. But basically what harassment by computer is communicating obscene, vulgar language via the computer. Okay? We all know these kids know more than we want to accept. Okay? When I started here, when kids would tell me things that happened, you're in 6th grade. How do you know this stuff? Okay? But it happens. So, a one-time thing, I might have a conversation, most likely I would never know it even happened. Okay? But if something continues, like harassment in general, when it continues, it is something that we have to look into. So that was the code section for harassment by computer in Virginia. This also includes cell phones. Okay, so all the stuff that I talk about tonight, it's about computers, but it's also dealing with cell phones. I like to touch base on the cell phone side of what is going on. You talk to your kids. Simply saying, I'm going to beat you tomorrow at school can be considered a threat. Okay, there are kids that can be scared of that student coming to school and actually beating them up at school, and we can take that as a threat depending on the seriousness of it. This also covers all of the language that can be used. This can include email, Facebook, any of the apps that are on phones. Okay, so it can include multiple different ways. One thing I want to touch on is the apps that they can get on computers as well as phones. Every day, these kids come up to me, you know about this app? I thought I was kind of young. I thought I was up with everything, and I'm definitely not. Makes me feel old every single day. But there's a ton of apps out there. Kick Messenger is one that we see a lot. Okay? It's not associated with the phone number. It's associated with an email address. Okay? So they can have these email addresses on these Chromebooks that they're getting here at school, set up this account via the computer, have it on their phone and the computer. Okay? And a lot of times this is where we see the threats happening because it's not associated with a number. So it's harder for us to figure out actually who it's coming from. Okay? So that is one that we do see a lot. Computer trespass. Temporarily or permanently alter computer data or programs. I added this one in because with the Chromebooks, it is still school property. Okay? So they mess with the computers, and I know Chromebooks are more internet-based, so you can't download stuff, so we won't have those issues. But if they mess with it too much, if they're messing with the networking of it, that type of thing, this is something that can come into play. Personal trespass by computer. Use of computer or computer network to cause physical injury to an individual. When I first learned this one, I thought, okay, take a computer and hit somebody with it, like physical injury to just the person. But this can also be, like with the threats, if they are using the computer, say, to organize a fight, okay, they're using that computer that ultimately leads to the physical injury of the kid, okay, or an adult, all of this stuff is for adults too, but it ultimately leads to that physical injury. Next thing is sexting. In the state of Virginia, we do not have a law on sexting, just like we don't have a law on bullying. Okay, there's not specific laws for those two. So what this is there's different laws that might fall, a sexting case might fall under. Okay? Well, what sexting is sending or receiving sexually explicit images electronically. Usually you see it via phones, but with these Chromebooks, if there's cameras on them, they can take pictures, webcams, those type of things. It's the same thing, okay? It's a dangerous trend. Unfortunately, we see this way too often. 3 weeks ago, I went to a training with all SROs from around the state. We get to talk about the sexting, how often do you see it in your schools, that type of thing. Luckily here, we don't see it nearly as much as some of the other schools see. Okay? We might have a case every once in a while, but they have cases once a week. Okay, so it's happening. From surveys, this is an older survey from 2010, okay, 5 years old, so most likely the numbers are a little bit higher. Randomly selected students between 11 and 18 were on this survey. Boys and girls were equally as likely to send naked images, but boys were significantly more likely to report them, okay? Just be aware of what your kids are doing. Okay, unfortunately, there's apps out there now called Photo Vault. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of those. It's scary. Okay, they can hide these pictures, and it's harder for us to find them. It's harder, as a parent, you can look at their phone, and it looks like the calculator's on their phone, or it can look as though it's just a regular video game on the phone. But when you actually click on it, it'll pop up as a calculator. You type in a certain code in this calculator, and it's a photo vault. Okay, they are hiding these pictures in these photo vaults. Typically, it's sexting videos or pictures. So it's something to be aware of. I had no idea that this was out there. It blows my mind that people come up with these things because children are now in trouble due to it. Okay, so have conversations. These images never go away. They don't, and kids don't get that. It can be something they sent a month ago. If it's online or sent via the web, it can be tracked, okay, even if they delete it. And we have have had cases where what they call revenge porn, is what they call it in the laws. But basically, the sexting pictures being sent, let's say a breakup happens, the ex posts it online. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, any of those, it's posted online. At that point, it becomes on the web and it's never gone. 61% of teens engage in this. 24 teens sent texts, people that they wanted to hook up with. Okay? So a lot of this comes from peer pressure. We know what happens. It's out there. They have a crush on somebody. Okay? The crush says, hey, send me a picture. They send it. Do you think that those people keep it on their phones just for them, or do you think it's being sent out? It's being sent out. Okay? People are receiving these pictures and sending them out to friends, strangers. They're just putting it out there for everybody. This is the code section that would be charged if your child is caught up with sexting. Child pornography. Okay, child pornography is when we hear that, we think very serious cases. Like I said, there's not a sexting code in Virginia, so this is what it would fall under. Again, there's the definition of what it would be. Again, some more of the sexually explicit. Okay, so this covers any nudity. Okay, now, we do not take cases to court where it's a mirror shot or something of such. But like it says, it has to be one of these things. There's the nudity one. All right, production of child pornography. This is what the individual who takes the picture would be charged with. Okay, so if an individual or your child takes this picture and sends it, they're not only producing it, but they're in possession of it, even though themselves, again, a lot of these, if I have this case come to me, I'm not automatically going to say, this, and this you're charged with. Okay, we look at each case, but just to make you all aware of the charges. Distribution. Your child takes the picture, sends it. There's two different charges that they could potentially be charged with. Okay, this has happened. There's a big case out west right now with the Photo Vault app where kids are being charged with these because they're sending them out to multiple friends. All right, just some more things. Again, as parents, be aware of what your kids are doing. Look at their phones, know their passwords. You have a right to if you're paying for it. I highly doubt the kids in 6th grade, 7th grade are maybe paying for it. Okay? Look at it. Check it. Whatever you need to do to make sure that these kids don't get themselves in trouble or in a situation that down the road haunts them. Okay? Being aware, you all know your kids better than anybody. If they seem off, ask what's going on, because there's probably something that they're not telling you. Again, this is not just via the computers, we're seeing this with cell phones as well. The kids can be charged. Okay, it's not something we like to do, but with serious cases, it's happened. Cyberbullying is a big thing. We know bullying happens in the schools. Cyberbullying is going to happen on computers. Okay, so again, know what your kids are saying, how they're talking to other people, what other people are saying to them as well. The slightest thing to kids can be a big deal. You know, to a kid, somebody saying, I don't like your shirt, that can be a big deal that can just keep going. Okay? Information that goes on the web is always on the web. Okay? Not just that, these kids get so much information off the web. Okay? Drugs. They type it in, they can find more than I probably know off the top of my head. Okay? So just be aware not only of what they're doing online, but what they're searching online. Okay? Because they can learn a whole lot offline, and we'll never know. Okay? So please just be aware of what's going on with your kids. If you all have any questions, I'm here at school all the time. Give me a call. If by chance I'm at court or something like that, I'll call you right back. Okay? But please, give me a call. The best way is open communication. I can talk with your kid, even just as intervention, and say, you know, this is what could happen if this type of thing continues. Okay? So it's a way to help them so they know what's going on as well as the parents and keep the communication open. Okay? All right, thank you.
appreciate the information. As we told you, the internet's scary, right? And we're going to try to be as transparent as we can, and that's part of that. Like, I mean, nobody wants to hear that, right? But it's true. It's happening. It's out there. We know that it's happening. And it's out there. So better know up front. It's always good to know up front what's going on. The thing is, our kids know. Right? I mean, this is happening, whether we know it or not, whether you know it or not. Our kids are finding this stuff out. My part here, I'm the last guy in this office, and we're going to talk about the instructions. I'm the walker. I'm sorry. I walk around. But what I can tell you, how did we get here? Okay, as it started, we started this conversation in July. I started July 1st. Wanted to find some ways that we can help our kids, as we talked about it at back to school night. We're an improvement for reading. We got to do better at reading and writing. So how do we do that? So the idea came to mind was, well, we need more time. We need our kids to do more. Sometimes 8 to 3 isn't enough. Especially when we're struggling with reading and writing and math. And then how do we differentiate instruction? How do we get it to your kid's level? How do we do all these things? And I'm not going to say that technology is the end-all be-all, but it can help us. Right? So we started putting this motion, this plan in place. Teachers got Chromebooks when they came back to school. Right? So our teachers have been working since the end of August, getting professional development twice a month, either after school or during the planning period. We can talk about Google Classroom, how it can be such a great tool for us in instruction. Right? Your kid gets sick, right? We can hook them up with their own Google Classroom, and they can get work, and they can talk to their teacher. Right? One of our teachers goes out and gets sick because their kid is sick. I can't get sick. Right? I got to take a day off. Well, my kid, when he's sick, he sleeps. Right? He's got a fever. He's not doing well. He sleeps. You know what? I can log in and I can talk to my class, and so I don't lose instruction. Right? And so we started talking about how do we do all this? Right? Google Classroom, man, what a great thing. Google Forms, what a great thing. Right? Man, we can do all these different tests, and we can do all these different, videos and clips and YouTube. We can see the world. How do we do this? Right? So our teachers have gone through some professional development. We will continue to do that. It's not going to stop because it's always changing. And so, then that leads us here to launch tonight. Right? So we very calculated, figured it out, what we're going to do. Our teachers have been working on it. Our kids now have it. And now we've got to tell you guys more about it. So the protection fee. Right? Some of you guys have talked about that or had some questions. Right? That's a $45 upfront fee. Right? If something goes wrong, if it breaks, we'll fix it. $45. Okay? It's an optional fee. You don't have to do it. At the same time, as we're talking about how to protect these things, your kids are getting that right now too, from 6th and 7th grade. How do we protect these things? Right? I talked to a friend of mine. He said the biggest problem that they've had is that kids want to put the pencil on the keyboard, close the Chromebook, and we crack a screen. I'm sitting there going, heck, I could do that. Right? He said, we just gave it out to the 300 6th graders, and that's been our biggest problem. They take care of the Chromebook. They really do. That's what he said. It's not even believe it. It's awesome. He said, well, what they do is they get excited. Pencil's in there, write it down. Screen cracks. And it's a mistake, right? As I sat there and said, heck, we both did in a hurry. That's what happens. Okay? So we put we put a structure in there in place to protect our investment. We put a structure in there that we can hope that you guys can help us out with. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Right? It's a one-time fix. We put an ending date of December 1st on that. We know it's the holidays. We don't know when pay periods are. But if that's something you're interested in, we can float that date a little bit. And so we put a deadline on that as December 1st. Well, how's this going to help me if I don't have internet and I don't want to get internet? Well, the great things about these devices is, when they're here, they're going to be connected. Okay? We can connect them up. They can get all the shared apps, all the shared documents before they leave school, and then you can work offline at home, right? So we can still do everything except to be live on the internet, okay? One of the things that we can do when we share documents is we can provide feedback to kids, like they can be working on it, right? If they're connected to the internet, and the teacher can see it if it's shared, and we can give feedback right to the kids. It doesn't have to be that way, right? So there's absolutely a benefit to taking these things home and using them at home even if you don't have internet. We can still do it. Okay? Now, do you have to take it home? No, that is a family decision, right? We are allowing you to do so. If that is something you want to do, great. If you don't want to, for whatever the reason may be, you don't have to. We can keep them here at school, right? They're going over where we're going to put it in our English classrooms because that's where we'll have a charging station. We're going to put it in one room. We've got that taken care of if you don't want to take it home, right? If you have a device at home, well, then let's keep one here and one at home, and then it doesn't get transported, less likely it gets broken. And that's okay too, right? We're letting you guys decide that. But we're giving you the option to do that. I'll skip the end of the year collection and let me go down to the next one, okay? Because this kind of goes, they go together. Tracking and filtering, okay? We will have the ability, starting on Monday, right? Starting on Monday, we found our first little snafu, right? Starting on Monday, we will be able to filter these devices from your home internet, okay? So what will happen is that you'll log in to their internet at your house, it'll run back to school, go through our filter, and then back out, okay? So if they can't get on it here at school, they won't be able to get on it at home. Okay? That is a key thing for me, okay? That made me feel better, okay? Because I know you guys work, right? You're not home right after school, they're going to have this Chromebook, what are they going to get into? Right? Well, we're going to be able to filter that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's not impossible for them to get around a filter. Okay? If they're smart and they're tech savvy, there's a way to do it. Okay? But it's going to be harder. Right? The other part of this is if they log in on their school ID, right? Their school username and login, we can track it. We can see everything on their screen. Okay? Everything on their screen. So if there's somewhere where they don't need to be, we'll find it. Right? This is where the open communication piece comes in. If there's something going on at home with these things that just doesn't seem right, call us. We can look it up. We can sit down together and we can look it up. And we can get back to you. Okay? If they log in, if they create their own Gmail account, right? The filter will still work. We just can't track it. Okay? Alright, that's the downside of that. If they can create another Gmail account, that's not a hard thing to do. Right, but we can still be filtered. If they use their school, hey, we can track it, we can see it. That's not an issue. At the end of the year, sometime, May, end of May, early June, we will collect these things. Okay? They'll not come home during the summer. Alright, we'll collect them, we'll clean them up, we'll swipe them, we'll do any maintenance that we need to them, and then we'll redeploy at the start of next school year. Okay, so we'll collect them back up so that we can do that. The biggest reason why we're doing this is the educational impact. Guys, we all know that the digital age, being a digital citizen, that the world we live in, man, it moves fast. It's only going to move faster. Right? The ability that we'll have to do instruction at an individual level with these Chromebooks in our kids' hands is absolutely amazing. I'm going to be able to do 10 different things with 10 different kids in the same classroom, and nobody's going to know anything different's going on. I can customize your instruction and get you better where you are, provide you the feedback that you need. And hey, you know what? We can extend that when you go home because you shared the document with me. And so if you're doing some homework and you have a question, you can just put it on. And if I'm working at home as a teacher, I can get back to you. Right? The information that we'll be able to share with our kids, the feedback that we'll be able to share is huge. And when you look at all the educational lingo, right, the number one thing that drives instruction to get kids better is feedback. And we can do that in a snap because we're going to be sharing documents. Now, we know, there's Google Hangout, and that can be a little bit of a scary thing. Like, we can't turn that off, right? If we turn Google Hangout off, we turn that off, we don't want to do that, right? So there's some things that we know we have to monitor, that we have to watch. But once again, if they're logged in and they're at home, and they're logged in under their school account, we can see them. Okay, so all of this stuff, all the instructional stuff that we can do, from reading to writing to math to different programs, taking different tours around the world. We can now do that in an instant. The things that we're going to be able to do with our kids is phenomenal. Like, I can't tell you how excited I am about that opportunity. Right? Being able to write something with your teacher and then bring it back and get the feedback and fix it, almost instantly. It's huge. Hey, here's a great article that we just found in current events, and we're studying in our social studies class, and we're going to share it with you, download it, take it home, write a reflection on it. It's done. As we said, if your child gets sick, we can create a Google Classroom for them. And we won't get behind in studies. If a teacher gets sick, we won't be able to get behind in studies. Right? The instructional impact on this is huge. Right? There is things out there that we probably haven't even thought of that we'll find as we go, but it's going to make the whole experience better. I can tell you that. Right? We have to work together. Right? And not only this is a great instructional tool, but man, this is a great community experience. Okay? We have to communicate. We do. Because if you see something that we need to know about, then we want to be on it. Right? We want to help you. We need your help. And we want to help you. But this is all in the name of helping our kids. Because this is one of the tools that we feel will help us get to the next level. Like I said, this is a new experience for Shenandoah County Public Schools. Right? Nobody's done this before. And so when I first talked to you guys, I said, there's going to be some things that we haven't thought of. We were talking about that just the other day. Alyssa and I we're banging our heads against the wall. What haven't we thought of? What haven't we thought of? And we don't know what it is right now. I feel very confident that maybe one of you guys are going to ask me a question when it's all said and done, and I say, hold on. I'm going to have to get back to you. Give me a little bit of time. I'll get you an answer. Okay? All right. With that being said, I'm all but done. Okay? As mentioned, we will excuse you guys to go pick up your children in the centrums. If you have questions, all right, I've got my team, Mr. Rice. Raise your hand. Right? Duff Rice, he's my assistant principal. He is here. Alyssa Moore, raise your hand. Melanie Wood, raise your hand. Right? Those are parts of my team. Right? We kind of put this together, so we will be over here in this corner. Right? We will answer individual questions. Okay? Our folks from Centel are going to be here. Right? If you have questions for them, our PTO, shirt people, thanks again. Right? Eva's going to be there if you're interested in the protection fee, and if there's any other documents that you need or interested in. Andrea and Trenda are over there, they can help you with that. Right? So I'll just close with saying thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for supporting us. As mentioned, we'll be here. All right? So thank you for being here. Please go ahead and pick up your children in the center. If you need to see us, we'll be here. Thank you.